Hey, good morning, everyone. As we get started with another 3 minutes with God, we will be looking at Genesis 15, verse number 5 today. So let us go ahead and start the timer. Genesis 15 and 5 says, Then he brought him outside and said, Look now toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to number them. And he said to him, So shall your descendants be. This is an amazing promise, an amazing reassurance to a promise that God has already provided Abram. And we see exactly what's going on here, that as Abram was most likely in his tent praying and having a conversation with God, that God responds and he tells him to go outside. And can you imagine having um, either the audible voice of God, or just a deep sense of God's presence and alerting you to go outside? And as you go outside, you are told to look up. And as Abram looks up in the sky, he is told that his descendants will number the stars in the sky. Um, and I can imagine the the deep sense of relief and reassurance that Abram felt. I mean, you think about it, that there's been several years that goes by after Genesis 12, when Abram receives the original promise from God that he was going to bless him and that he was going to have a seed. And after all of these years are going by, um, that Abram, one, is getting older, and he has not had a child yet. And if you know anything about the story, that Abram is 100 and his wife Sarah is 90 by the time they end up having Isaac. But even right now, that you see that God steps in right on time and gives him some reassurance, gives him some peace. And I would just caution you to, if you're dealing with something right now, you may be waiting on God in a tough place, maybe in a crisis, or something, that to look at this verse and see exactly what God is telling Abram. And what he is telling him is that even though it may take a long time, and even though it may not happen when you think that it should happen, that I am going to fulfill the promise that I made to you, that I am going to, here is some reassurance that I am going to do exactly what I said I'm going to do. And lastly, if you look at what God says, he tells him to try to count the stars. That when God steps in and when God does it, it's going to be so big and so amazing that one person cannot contain it and hold it. And so that's how you know when God is doing something, that when it's done, that you can't keep it to yourself, you can't contain it by yourself, and that you have to include somebody else, you have to share, because God is just such a great God like that, that he wants you to be able to wants others to be able to experience him. So I'll leave you with that today, and just remember that um, God will do what he said he's going to do. So God bless you and have a great day.